Welcome back to A Hill with a View. My name is Moshe Hill. We have been counting down 2022's most underreported stories. This is the last part. We're talking about the final parts of the year, the parts where the media just ignored what was going on, what was important, or they took their story and they set their narrative to it, but ignored key aspects of the story which were vastly important and underreported. So we're going to kick it off. We're going to October 6th, President Biden pardons marijuana users. So if you don't remember, Biden issued a blanket pardon for all federal inmates that were incarcerated over, quote, simple marijuana possession, and urged governors to do the same. This made a lot of headlines, to be sure, but few follow-ups were done because as most people for drug-related crimes are not there for simple possession. They're there for much bigger crimes, drug trafficking, or a combination with other more severe crimes, and they just tack on possession in charge on top of gang-related crimes or murder or assault or all those kind of things. So being in jail over simple marijuana possession is really not a thing. However, for years, the Democrats made it seem like it was a thing. So when Biden issued this, they said, oh, this would affect thousands and thousands of people. We really haven't heard much about it since then, and because it really never was a thing. So the media, once again, focused on the wrong part of this. They focused on how great Biden was as opposed to how useless this actual mass pardon was. So, once again, that's a media fail. Now, on November 3rd, we have Benjamin Netanyahu, Bibi. He takes over the Knesset again, the Israeli elections. After a brief experiment with a unity government that was united only in its opposition to Benjamin Netanyahu, Israelis returned to the polls for the fifth time in 3 years. Do you think we have a bad election system? Imagine that, going 5 times in 3 years, and gave the premiership back to Bibi. With a commanding 64-seat majority, this is the stablest government Bibi has had to work with in years. The coverage was all about how radical, right-wing new government was going to be, but the population of Israel is looking for stronger leadership in the midst of increase in terrorist action coming from Judea and Samaria, also known as the West Bank. They're looking for solid leadership coming from the Knesset. That's what they're looking for, and that's what Israelis want. Even when you're on the left in Israel, the left is really on for economic issues, for social issues, but everyone's on the same page regarding security. And this is something that the media and the Democrats really don't understand regarding the two-state solution. The two-state solution is, for all intents and purposes, dead. There is no two-state solution. It's not possible because to have a two-state solution, you need to have one state plus one state for 2 states. Now we have one state, which is Israel. There is no other one state because the Palestinians don't want a state. They never have. They've had the opportunity. They don't want it. They want to kill all the Jews and kick them out of the entire land and have that one state solution. Jews aren't willing to do that. So it's not going to happen. But that entire thing is going to be underreported because all they want to talk about is how radical right-wing Bibi is. Now, November 8th, this was a tough one because this is the red flop. Everyone thought it was going to be a red wave. It was a red flop. After months of speculating that Republicans would decisively take over the House and the Senate, I remember the day before I was saying we're going to win 260 seats in the House. We're going to win 54 seats in the Senate. Nope. The people have spoken. They said no to that. The party in power had the best showing of any party in the last century during the midterm elections, not losing one seat in the Senate, and they even took a seat in the Senate, and keeping the House as slim a majority as possible. Right now, Republicans have a 4-seat majority. It's crazy. Republicans have been at each other's throats since the result to find out what went wrong and how to fix it in 2024. Now, obviously, this was a hugely talked about story. Obviously, everyone was talking about it. However, the really underreported part of this entire thing was, I think, New York. Because New York did very well for Republicans. We flipped 4 seats in New York for the Congress. We took over a bunch of seats in the state Senate. The Democrats still had the majority, but we took over a bunch of seats. And Lee Zeldin had one of the best showings of any Republican gubernatorial candidate since Pataki in the 90s, since when Pataki won. So this is a big deal, and hopefully we can continue on this momentum and make New York. I'm not even asking for a purple party. I don't think we'll even get to a purple, but maybe lighter blue. Like, let's hope for that. Maybe. So, I mean, I want New York to be sane at one point. All right, last story. Make sure you share, and subscribe. Share it with a friend. Please do that. We need all the help we can get. December 8th, Congress passes the Respect for Marriage Act, but without amendments. So, once again, a story that was talked about a ton, but the thing that wasn't talked about were the amendments. The inappropriately named Respect for Marriage Act received all the media attention that could possibly be mustered, but what went largely unnoticed was the amendments to the act proposed by Senator Mike Lee. I think Rubio put out another one that would protect religious observers. The issue at hand is that private people could be forced by the government to violate their own religious beliefs when asked to, for example, bake a cake at a gay wedding. While this bill makes clear that institutions, organizations, or employees of organizations are protected for when performing services for gay marriage, it does not protect individuals outside of said organizations and institutions. Currently, this issue is being argued in front of the Supreme Court. So, these are the biggest issues. These are the biggest underreported stories of the year. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Hopefully, we're going to have a more sane media coming up next year. I highly doubt it, especially going into the 2024 election season. I do not expect the media to gain any credibility, at least in my eyes, in a lot of people's eyes. They will not be changing, so we need to keep track on them. We need to call them out when they're lying, when they're misdirecting, and this needs to be forefront of everyone's conversation going into 2023. 2022 was a crazy year, a tough year. We're going to have a good 2023. Have a good night. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share, and tell a friend.